And good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you're watching this podcast from here in the Philippines or from all over the world. And welcome to my podcast, the RJ Ledesma podcast. In my podcast, I interview the country's pioneering business personalities and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about business or how they think about doing business. What are their success secrets? What are their best practices? Can we emulate them? How have they innovated their businesses during the pandemic period? And of course, more importantly, what opportunities do they see emerging in our new normal? Is there also a business personality or entrepreneur that you would like me to interview here on the podcast? Please let me know who they are. I would love to learn from them. Just drop me a message. We are also live right now on Kumu and on YouTube. Now, before everything else, just a word from our good friends in Go Time Bank. Are you tired or are you experiencing some pain points with bank transfer fees and low interest rates? Then it's time to say hello to GoTime Bank. GoTime Bank offers interest rates 50 times higher than traditional banks and offers that's right, three free bank transfers to other banks per week. With GoTime Bank, you can make quick and easy transfers to other banks, plus enjoy higher interest rates of 3% per annum per year on your savings, no minimum amount, no deposit caps, and no need to complete tasks or missions. Plus, as a Gokongwei bank, you can also trust GoTime to keep your money safe and secure. So right now, please download the GoTime Bank app today and experience the next level of banking. Or you may also visit www.gotime, that's gotyme.com.ph for details. Now, moving on to the topic of our podcast here this afternoon, this evening, this morning. There has been a rise of the number of companies, offshore companies, offering what they call golden visas, or more appropriately, sometimes citizenship by investment or CBI. So we're being asked to make a lot of investments. We invest in stocks, in bonds, in a lot of offshore equities. But have you ever thought about investing in a citizenship for another country? And in particular, one of the countries which is pretty hot on the radar of many Filipino entrepreneurs and businessmen is Portugal. Why is Portugal a compelling investment right now for a golden visa or for a citizenship by investment? And why, in particular, should entrepreneurs consider looking at Portugal as a place to invest in for a golden visa or a citizenship by investment? We will find out in this episode of the RJ Ledesma podcast. Today, I have with me a very good friend who's the head of business development of Arton Capital. She champions the vision of empowering individuals and families to become global citizens through a bespoke service experience of helping them with their citizenship by investment program. We have Miss Louissa Lavnea Thomas all the way from Singapore. Louisa, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Hi, RJ. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks so much, Louisa. And of course, joining us here as well is also another good friend of mine. We have attorney Rocky Chan of Enter PH. Enter PH is a company which helps offshore companies to invest or set up their businesses here in the Philippines. They've had a truly successful track record of bringing in a lot of medium to high end BPOs and other companies which want to set up representative offices here in the Philippines. Enter PH is the official partner of Arton Capital here in the Philippines. Rocky, I know you're feeling a bit under the weather right now. That's why you're keeping your camera off. But please make sure. How are you doing right now?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm still under the weather. It's been a little challenging to speak, but nevertheless, I'm happy to be here today and happy to see Louisa again. It's been a while.
Again, Rocky, thanks so much for soldiering through and joining us here today. And just let everybody know. Just a disclaimer: I'm actually part of Enter PH. I work with Rocky over there, and we helped found the company. So let's get into the meat of the discussion here right now, Luisa. Now, before we talk about investing in Portugal, tell us a bit more about what Arton Capital is. I know it's out
Mhm.
of Singapore, but I know that your main office is in Dubai. Tell us a
Mhm.
bit more about what's the pain point that Arton
Mhm.
Capital was trying to solve for people who needed, I guess, mobility. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, RJ. So basically, Arton Capital is one of the founding companies for the whole industry of citizenships or residencies by investment. We've been in this business for the past 15 or 16 years now. And all we do are basically we have two major roles as the business. The first role is, of course, to connect governments to investors who are looking for a residency or citizenship. And the next role is, of course, to provide an advisory role to governments themselves who want to formulate a residency program or a citizenship program, right? So we do two things here, and our main focus, actually, this is our only focus. We are very specific, very tailored firm that all we do is help investors to acquire the residency or citizenship, and we do the entire paperwork for them. So that's our core business. So we are not we don't do, we are not a law firm, we are not a financial advisory firm. We don't do so many things. Our focus is residency and citizenship by investment.
Got it. So it's sort of like you are the one-stop shop. If I am interested to secure citizenship in other countries, uh, we go to you. You take care of all the paperwork for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do everything from A to Z that's required to attain the residency or citizenship. So everything when it comes to KYC, approved investments according to the requirements, documentation, getting the approvals, and also after citizenship services as well. When it comes up on an ad hoc basis, we are able to assist as well.
And you were talking about there's a difference between, I guess, I know that it might not seem so obvious, but you talked about citizenship by investment and residence. Is that right? What's the difference between residency and
That's a
citizenship
different.
by investment?
Okay, so when you talk about residency by investment and citizenship by investment, the main difference here is what are you getting at the first stage immediately. For citizenship by investment programs, you're getting a passport immediately as a first step. For residency by investment programs, you're getting a residency of that country as a first step, not the citizenship yet. All right. So when you talk about a country like Portugal with the Portugal Golden Visa program, what you're getting as the first step is a golden visa, which is a residency, as compared to maybe a CBI in the Caribbean, for example. Over there, you invest and you get the passport right away. So this is the major difference.
I see, I see. And when you look at when you look at the programs that you're investing into, a residence by investment or a citizenship by investment, I just wanted to briefly ask. Many people listening to the show are actually entrepreneurs, who have, I guess, businesses here in the Philippines. Some of them might be doing businesses abroad a lot. Is there a particular uh, uh, program which you suggest that entrepreneurs should look at? Should it be a citizenship by investment or a residence by investment?
Okay, so ultimately it depends on the needs of the entrepreneur as well. What we do see as a common trend with entrepreneurs is that they are so busy, they have built such a big foundation in terms of their company, their business in Philippines, and they are not able to satisfy a high physical presence requirement, which means they are not able to relocate from Philippines to another country. So what we do see that they need is firstly travelability, which means access and mobility, because they do travel the world constantly, and having to apply for visas, visa issues is not something that they can afford to have. So the first need that we satisfy for them is to have an immediate passport to help them for visa free travel. And secondly, of course, they're also looking at in terms of future benefits, future opportunities, more than just access and mobility. So
Mhm.
that's why we are able to satisfy, maybe that's a need for retirement, or if they have children, for children's education, employment, business opportunities in the EU, for example. So that is the next step that we're able to satisfy for them. But regardless of this, for entrepreneurs, it's very important that they do not have to live or relocate in order to maintain the residency or the citizenship, because they're really busy in their home country running the business. So most of these programs, in fact all of the programs that we have, do not require them to relocate or live in that country for an extended period of time.
Okay, I see. So it's a citizenship or residence by investment, but it doesn't require you to actually relocate for long periods of time, which is very key for many
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs or business people.
That's right.
Attorney Rocky, in your own experience, and we've worked a lot of years together with the people from Arton Capital, and you've seen people come to Enter PH telling you with regard to their own desire to secure this citizenship by investment. What has been your experience with the locals over here who are going for these type of citizenships? What is their background, their profile, and why do you think they usually get these citizenships?
Well, from what I've noticed now, it really comes from all different kinds of needs now. Obviously, the common denominator is many of them are very part of the well-heeled, right? They're well-to-do. They want more options when it comes to mobility, opportunities, not just for themselves, but for their families as well, right? And I think our experience really is we really have to handhold them. I think that's the good thing about even from the beginning, our partnership with Arton, right? You know this also, RJ.
Mhm.
One of the things that was kind of drilled into us is, there's really no um, one plan fits all,
Mhm.
right? It really depends on what everybody's needs are. And I think what sets us apart from maybe others out there is that we really take the time to handhold them, right? We're patient when it comes to questions. We're not rushed. We don't, we really avoid the hard sell, and we avoid, trying to pressure customers into a decision. And we really try, I think one of the things that we've endeavored to do over the past years is to find these solutions that make the most amount of sense for our clients. And um, And another thing is, we also try to be extremely transparent when it comes to things like the investment or
That's right.
the the amount of time, the fees, and all of that. And that, I think, goes a long way to, um, to make sure that when we onboard a client, that we're going to take care of them until the very end.
May I add something at this point?
Please, Lisa.
Thanks, Rocky, for that. I just want to touch on your point about hand-holding the clients and being patient, and ultimately to give them something that they truly need, as compared to what we need as a company. Because a lot of times there are companies out there where they do offer the same services, but their portfolio is just maybe one program, and that's the only thing that they do. So in terms of advisory, for us, we have a suite of programs in our portfolio. We don't just focus on one. There's no best program out there. It really depends on what the client needs at that point of time, assessing their family situation. So we don't just do Portugal. We have other golden visas as well. So it really depends on what is more tailored for the client at that point of time. When it comes to advisory, it's very important, like Rocky said, transparency. That's ultimately the most important, and also really thinking in the best interest of the client. That's what Arton. That's the motto that Arton works for: thinking in the best interest of clients, right? So it's very difficult to think in the best interest of a client if we only have one product that we are able to offer, or two products that we are able to offer. But because we have 10 products in our portfolio, we are really able to analyze each case by case, and then fit the family into the best program that's suited for them.
Well, that's really fantastic. I know that actually you've got 10 different programs. I know we're not going to be discussing here right now the other programs, but just for the benefit of those who are curious, we piqued their interest anyway. What are the other countries aside from Portugal being offered by Arton?
In terms of golden visa, that would be Greece. We do offer Greece as well, and we do offer Malta as well. When we talk about citizenship programs, we have the Caribbean countries. We have 5 in there. So usually we connect the 5, each program depending on the demographics and the cost and things like that. Apart from the citizenship programs in the Caribbean, we also have the Turkey citizenship that we do as well. And we also do the US EB5 program. So we do have quite a bit that we offer.
Fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
the more interesting thing over here is how exactly did Arton start off in doing citizenship by investment? Because this is a very interesting industry. Not everybody is really
Yeah.
looking into it. And I know I've actually met Armand Arton, the founder of Arton Capital, when he was here a couple of years ago to launch the program here in the Philippines. And he's an interesting backstory. Can you please share with us, Louisa, what is the impetus for him to actually create a citizenship by investment company?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Arman Artin is our founder. He's the only one, who's responsible for developing this company as it is today. His story was very interesting because he's an Armenian. And when he was really young, during the whole the war in Berlin and during that time, he experienced as a child being stateless, being unable to really find a home for himself. So he was having a lot of troubles in terms of immigration with his family as well, and finally he managed to grow up in Canada. So with his experience of when he was really young with regards to migrant issues, that's where he was really curious, and he decided to start a firm that helps people to solve their migration issues. And one of the gaps in this industry is that there are countries out there who do need the foreign direct investments to help with their economy. And at the same time, they are countries with really strong passports. And a lot of times, people are not aware of this because people do want a passport or residency in all these developed countries, maybe Germany or Dubai or Singapore. But in order to get the citizenship there or residency, it's really difficult. All right? It's very difficult because you need to spend a lot of time there, or it may not even be possible to get a passport of these countries. So the industry works such that it helps countries that are developing with a strong passport or a residency for that matter, and then we bring on investors to invest in these countries, helping them. And at the same time, these countries are providing the passport for these investors to help them as well in terms of their movement and mobility issues. So that is why this this is how the industry works. And we've been here for the past 15 years doing this. We started off very humbly in Canada, where the Quebec Investor Program was our flagship product. It ended a few years ago, but ever since then, we have helped governments formulate citizenship programs, like in Montenegro, for example. And then we've added a lot of licenses. We have government licenses as well, so that we are actually published in the citizenship unit websites as authorized agents. So we've come a long way now. And particularly during COVID,
Hmm.
that's when the whole industry had an exponential growth because
Wow. Okay.
after COVID, people started recognizing the fact that you do need a plan B. A passport used to be a luxury product in the past, but now it has become an essential product because it becomes a like a backup plan, an insurance policy, for example. So after COVID, a lot of demand for us. Our business grew exponentially because people realized that they do need a backup plan just in case.
So were people actually applying in the midst of COVID? Because, like for example, there's some countries where the healthcare wasn't quite where that person wanted it, and if they were, I guess, they had the financial capability, they would apply during the amidst the pandemic.
Of course, during the pandemic, people were continually applying because, firstly, the citizenship units and SEF in Portugal, they did not shut down. In
Hmm.
fact, they started becoming more flexible in terms of acquiring online submissions and things like that. So, efficiency wise, it was still very much there despite COVID times. But however, yes, the medical care was an issue in countries out there. So people were not seeking these programs to attain medical care, but they were seeking these programs so that they can get out and still travel despite a pandemic. Because if, let's say, you're a Filipino right now during a pandemic, you're stuck in Philippines. But at the same time, if you were an EU citizen at that time, you will be considered an essential traveler and you would have been able to leave Philippines and enter the EU because you're a citizen there. So that is why people understood this and they were trying to protect themselves just in case another pandemic comes up.
Got that. Louisa, I hope you don't mind. I hope it doesn't sound like it's a condescending question, but because you are out of artists out of Singapore, how can people, I guess, vet that it's a credible program? Because you never know. There are many. I personally received in my inbox, different citizenship programs coming in, and it's difficult for you to vet which one
Yeah.
is right. How can you tell which is
Mhm.
a program that's for that is genuine for real, or they're just sub licensing, or is it a program that's probably
Mhm.
better? Are there any red flags to understand
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
program is
Mhm.
good and what program is not so good?
Okay, so usually if it's a citizenship program, in the citizenship by or in citizenship unit's website, you can go in there and look at the authorized agents of the country, right? Only authorized agents are able to market the programs, and apart from being an authorized agent, you also have to look out for the local agent because the local agent is the one who has the relevant licenses to accept applications and submit it to the citizenship unit. So it's very important that a company has both of these in place. That's when it assures clients that they are dealing with a credible company. We do have both. We are marketing agents and also local agents as well in the Caribbean. So this can be really verified from the respective country's citizenship by unit website. So that's one thing to look out for. In terms of countries like for the golden visa, like Greece or Portugal or Malta, they work a little bit differently. They don't have a website with like authorized agents or anything like that. So it really depends on who you're working with, how big the company is, how many products that they've worked with in the past or they're doing so now. Because the track record is very important to understand who you're working with. That is the one that's going to make you feel assured that you are sending your important documents to the right company, right? So that is something that I feel it's very important to take note how big the firm is and how long they have been doing this historically.
That's right. And I'm happy to say that we are well, Enter PH is the official representative here in the Philippines. And if you don't mind, Rocky, briefly just to share what has been the experience working together with the Arton Capital folks, particularly in helping process Philippine clients for their service.
Well, definitely, the feedback that I get is, Arton and Louisa in particular, they're extremely responsive when it comes to, the questions, the needs of the client, and Um, I think the biggest, like I said earlier, the biggest benefit to how we do business is we we really take pains to handhold our clients. So far so good. I mean, we've and I guess to Luisa's point earlier, no, I think we've been referring more clients to Arton now than we probably ever did at the beginning. So I guess that really is a sign of a trend.
I see that actually increasing also at the same time. I mean, lockstep with the number of clients increasing and the number of companies coming over to the Philippines to offer actually in person and giving a lot of talks here as well. If you don't mind, I often tell people when I give my entrepreneurship talks, what usually is what's the competitive advantage, or I guess the unfair advantage or the secret sauce to say of working together with Arton Capital versus working with other agencies which might offer a similar service to Visa. I hope you don't mind me asking you that question.
Is for me? Is that question for me?
Yes, yes, Louisa, yes.
Okay, okay. So, well, basically, the difference here is that you know, as a company, we do understand there are many players in the market now. In fact, I personally feel happy that there are many people now marketing these programs. That really shows investors out there that this is a serious concept. This is a serious
Mhm.
product here. It's not like in the past where people were not really aware about this industry. Passport or residency may just be a luxury product for the high net worth individuals. It's not like that anymore. And that is exactly why there are a lot of firms right now who are promoting the residency or citizenship product. What makes us different in Art and Capital is that, like I said, we have a very high track record of doing this program. And secondly, we always have an initial due diligence procedure, which we do not charge clients at all, to make sure that clients are even eligible before they pay and start the documentation, which is very important because you know clients sometimes they start to apply, they pay the fees, they start to apply, and then at the end of the day they are rejected because their background check is not qualified. So we eliminate the risk and we do the background check initially before they apply, so that they are ensured that their whole family is indeed eligible for the respective program, and then we will start the paperwork for them. So that is something that we do as well. Of course, as a big company, we don't just stop there once a client gets citizenship or residency. We build a relationship, we maintain the relationship with all our clients, because ultimately at the end of the day, our clients are also running businesses. They have their own work that they would like assistance as well. So as a company, we have the Global Citizen Forum as well that we curate every year. The Global
Mhm.
Citizen Forum is a huge event that we organize every year, mainly to bring on the respective prime ministers, head of states of the different programs that we offer, and also invite our distinguished clients to the event as well, so that both of them can connect and explore areas in terms of businesses, in terms of their own citizenships and residency they've attained as well. So there's a lot of things that we do for our clients, and that I believe puts us on the edge.
Great to hear that. And having said that, for those who want to be able to check on Art and Capital, you can actually you can actually go online. Aryan, let's flash right now the Art and Capital website. That's www.artoncapital.com. That's ARTON capital.com. And also on that same website, you can see the different programs being offered for the different countries of art. And in particular, you can look for Portugal. Let's flash that one over there. So you just go to Global Citizen Programs under Portugal on the Art and Capital website. And if you're Filipino, or if you're a Filipino but based abroad, no problem. If you're interested to secure a citizenship by investment or that golden visa, you can get in touch with EnterPH. The email to use is info@enterph.com. Again, that's info@enterph.com. So let's move on now, Louisa, and talk particularly about the Portugal program. Now,
Mhm.
now, why in particular is Portugal the country that most people are looking right now for that
Mhm.
golden visa or citizenship by investment program? What is it particularly first about the program, I guess?
So Portugal, firstly, is an EU country. All right, that's a major factor that we all need to be aware of. Secondly, why Portugal, right? Okay, what is Portugal offering for that matter? Portugal is offering a golden visa. What is a golden visa? A golden visa is a residency card that you have that allows you to travel freely within the Schengen zone. All right, so it could be a golden visa. In some countries, the golden visa is a temporary residence permit. In other countries, a golden visa can be a permanent residence. So they could term it in different ways, but ultimately, a golden visa allows you to travel freely within the Schengen zone, and it's basically a replacement of a Schengen visa already,
Okay,
right? So that is what.
just to be clear with people, what comprise the Schengen? So at least the major countries. So for those who might not be too aware.
Okay, so these are the Schengen countries, right? So Switzerland is one of it. France, Austria, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Estonia, Italy. So these are the
Mhm.
countries that are part of Schengen. There are 27 countries altogether.
So you're able to secure, and you were saying that with Portugal, you were able to already secure, at least at the start, a resident visa. Is that right? When you start working with
resident
for Portugal.
residence visa in Portugal, which allows you to travel freely within the 27 Schengen countries. So if, for example, you go to Portugal and you want to travel to Switzerland or Germany or France, you don't need to, it's borderless travel within Schengen. So you just have to show your residency card of Portugal and you will be able to travel freely.
Okay. And then,
Yeah.
what's been very popular here in the Philippines, because we were a former Spanish colony, is also the Spanish Golden Visa.
Mhm.
Just to understand, what would be the difference, I guess, between getting a Spanish Golden Visa and maybe getting a Portugal Golden Visa?
Mhm, mhm. So the difference here is that, okay, so different golden visa programs have different structures. In Spain, for example, the golden visa allows you to live in Spain, also travel within Schengen, and for everyone else in the world, takes 10 years to get the passport. But there is a special structure for Filipinos where it only takes 2 years to get the citizenship of Spain. However, there is a little bit of a concern in that area because the Spanish Golden Visa requires you to stay in the country for at least 50% of the year per year for the 2 years in order to qualify for the citizenship, you see. So that works for some group of clients who are able to relocate. That works for them. But another group of clients who are not able to relocate and satisfy such a huge physical presence requirement, then Portugal would be a better option for them because in Portugal, in order to qualify for the citizenship, you only need to visit the country for 1 week every year.
1 week every year.
One, only 1 week every year, but it's for 5 years, right? So people find it easier to travel there for a week every year for 5 years and then get the citizenship after that. Yeah.
Sort of like you take a vacation in
It's a
Portugal,
vacation,
1 week.
pretty much. Yes, yes.
And is there, like in Spain? I know that there's a language test requirement to be able to also qualify as a citizen.
Mhm,
Is it
mhm.
is it the same also in Portugal?
Same, same for Portugal as well. The language test is required to qualify. That only happens on the fifth year when you're about to apply for the citizenship of Portugal.
Is it a? I guess the question is it a difficult test? I mean, because we're not native Portuguese speakers. Does
Yes,
Arthur
yes.
help you out, or is it like if you fail this one, you can't become a citizen?
Well, I wish we had tuition lessons for Portuguese and Spanish, but unfortunately, we don't provide any tuition tuition services. But it's a very easy, very basic A2 level Portuguese test. If you were to Google what's an A2 level basic Portuguese test, you should be able to see that it's very conversational, very basic words that are testing you. And ultimately, if you have a golden visa in Portugal and you're visiting on a vacation for every year, by the time you hit the fifth year, you should be able to already recognize some of the basic words that are used in that country. So, not to worry too much about the test.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
speaking of
please.
sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, Rocky.
Speaking of the 1 week every year, my understanding, Louisa, is that you can actually combine
Mhm.
years, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
yeah.
So how that works is that during COVID, they became a bit more flexible because people were not able to travel to satisfy the 1 week per year requirement. So what they came up with is that if you're not able to go for the first year for 1 week, you can definitely combine it to 2 weeks on the second year.
Did they make some considerations as a result of COVID for many of these people who could not fly during those times?
Yep, yep. So of course, if you're still not able to satisfy the 2 weeks, then they had a bit of extension for you. You know, it's not. It's basically whenever you're able to fly, that's when the Portugal visa will be renewed. The card can be renewed. So if you're not able to fly, then it's just a matter of the card being a little bit delayed in terms of renewal. But they will not terminate your residency just because you're not able to fly.
And during that whole process, if ever something that happens like that one, do we speak? Does the client speak with Arton to say, I can't make it, I need some help
Yes.
over here?
Of course, we are here for problems like that. So if you have any issues in terms of travel availability or stays or anything like that, anything with regards to your residency for that matter, we are always here and we will be helping you out.
Got that. Can we go now into the actual process of applying for that golden visa or for that citizenship by investment? What does the process a Filipino citizen has to go through to be able to apply for that through Arton?
Mhm. Okay, so the initial, very first step for everybody is an initial due diligence that we do to make sure that you're eligible for the program. So this would take about 3 to 4 working days. Once this due diligence is cleared, that's when we can kickstart the paperwork. So what is the very first step in terms of paperwork is opening of a bank account in Portugal. So it's a requirement that you need to have a local Portugal bank account in order to make the investment for the residency. So we will help you with all the paperwork with regards to this. A lot of times clients ask us, how are you able to open a bank account? Do I have to fly there? Do I have to be there physically? The answer is no, you don't have to be there physically because we are able to do this entire opening remotely with the lawyers, with the POA. So that is something that clients should take note of. And of course, after the bank account has been successfully opened, that's where you'll be required to purchase a real estate which is approved for the golden visa. So that's another point that I want to highlight as well, because right now, to get the golden visa, the real estate has to be an approved one. It can't be a real estate just anywhere in the open market because there are a lot of rules in place right now that Portugal has put in place. So this comes down to also my point of choosing the right company, because we make sure that all our real estate are already pre-qualified and approved for the program. There is a risk out there if companies are offering real estate that's not qualified. So that is something that to take note of. So after opening a bank account, that's where you invest in the approved projects. And it's not just one or two. We have a lot in our portfolio for that as well. And then when you have invested, you get the title deed, and then we submit your file for the application. And upon submission, then we wait for the approval to come. And together with the approval, you will also have a biometrics appointment to fly. So you've already gotten your golden visa. Now you will have to go for the biometrics in Portugal. So we have an office and local office in Portugal as well. Our job there is to coordinate itineraries for clients who are coming to Portugal, and also liaising with SEF, the Immigration and Border Service, with regards to all their applications as well. So we really make sure that your entire application process A to Z is well taken care of. So yeah, the final step is the biometrics appointment in Portugal. Once that is done, you come back and the residence cards will be couriered to us.
Now, just to clarify, Louisa, as I was listening to the process, you have to make the investment in the property first before you can apply for the golden visa?
Absolutely right. You have to purchase the property first because you need the title deed to show SEF that you are already an investor into their approved project. Hence, that's why they will be giving you the golden visa.
But there's a possibility. I mean, playing the devil's advocate, there's a possibility that your visa might not be approved. So what happens if you made an investment, but then your visa isn't approved?
Very good question there. So there is, of course, this is not something that I would say it's 100% guarantee as well. So there's always a risk of, for some reason, some applications might be rejected. But what happens to your property, which you have already purchased? That's when we have different types of properties with different structures and various exit clauses as well. So that's already in place for clients who are concerned that they have already purchased something and then having their visa rejected at the later stage. So we already have in the investor agreement certain exit clauses that are in place where we can show the clients to see which one they are more comfortable with.
Okay. Just in case, well, we can talk about later on what are the things. I mean, but the thing is, you do the vetting process to make sure that most probably the client will be approved. Is that correct?
Exactly. Exactly. And just to say something here, in Arton, we have been doing Portugal program for the past 7 years now, and we have not had a single rejection. Our track record is 100% approvals because of the fact that we do the KYC even before application, and we make sure our team is very well versed in terms of the paperwork as well, which is very important. Hence, we have not had a single rejection for Portugal.
Is there something that I mean at this point? What should people watch out for when they make the application? I mean, what should they know? I guess in the process of KYC, meaning know your client. What are the paperwork that they usually look for so that when
Okay,
somebody applies, they
a
know?
KYC is basically not a very extensive list of paperwork. Of course, we have a form for them to fill up, which we can readily give it to them. We need your passport copies as well. We need a bio data. So things like that are some of the forms that are required for KYC, just to check their eligibility. Of course, this is very different from the actual application because the actual application does entail a lot more documentation that we will need, and it can be quite taxing for some clients, quite stressful for some clients. I'm not going to deny that. That's exactly why we're here to handhold them and make sure the entire process is hassle free for them.
I got that. Now, I want to go now into the type of investment that you make. So it's not a passive investment. You're actually purchasing real estate. But will this real estate be a title under? Because in the Philippines, we're used to having a title. The proof of ownership is either a transfer certificate of title, it's a title to the property, or a condominium certificate of title. If you own a condominium unit, you have a certificate which you hold. So these titles would actually be in the name of the person.
Of course, the title will be in the name of the person, whether they buy an apartment, a residential apartment, or they buy a commercial shares of a commercial building. Title will always be in the name of the applicant.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what exactly is I guess, the minimum investment in real estate that they have to make? And what exactly are these properties that they are investing into? Like you said, these are properties only recommended and approved by the Portuguese government. So what are these properties so that people are
Mhm,
they are
mhm.
sure that it's a credible property and it's a good property?
Yeah. So there are two types of properties, two category of properties that are approved by the government. One is a commercial property, another one is a residential property. When you talk about a commercial property, you're investing in a new commercial project. It could be an office building, office retail building, it could be a new hotel that's coming up as well. Ultimately, you're an investor of that project, right? So you have shares, you're owning shares of that project. The residential category, of course, you're purchasing your own house. So you could be purchasing a villa, or you could be purchasing an apartment per se. So you own the entire place that you can use to stay in, or you can rent it out and things like that. So both ways, for commercial, in terms of location as to where you can invest in, there are no restrictions. You can invest in any commercial project that is in terms of location wise. But for residential, there are specific rules that are in place right now where you can buy. The government has put restrictions on the major cities that of Algarve, Lisbon, and Porto. So they have said that you can pretty much, buy in the outskirts of Portugal and things like that. But however, we do also we what I would like to add is that these two properties work differently for different groups of clients. If you would like something that's more hands-on, you want to have the possibility of living there, tenanting it out, earning a bit higher returns, then the residential will be suitable for them. There are some group of clients who prefer a more hands-off approach because their priority is investing in something that's going to give them the golden visa. They have no time to manage a property. They have no plans of living in their own property. They prefer to travel to Portugal and be able to explore many areas in Portugal as compared to just one place. So for them, they prefer the commercial because There is no maintenance involved, there is no management involved of the property. You are purchasing shares, earning returns out of the performance of the project, and then at the end of the day, you can sell it off and get your citizenship.
And I guess I guess in another meeting with in a follow up meeting together with Arton, you'll be able to review each of the properties that are available.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So whenever there's an interest, if anyone is interested to take a look or have a conversation with us, we'll be more than happy to give you the projects that we have, to of course hear you out as well, to see what exactly are you looking for, to then match it according to the appropriate project that we have, which are all government approved.
Great. Just to let people know again, we're the website or the rather the email to use if you want to get in touch with Arton Capital. You can look at the website artoncapital.com, or also check out. You can email us to ask to set an appointment with Arton Capital through info@enter.ph. Again, it's info@enter.ph. Now, Louisa, this is interesting. So, the way that you look at the property is this way. It depends on your objective, right? So, hands off. I just want to go to Portugal. I'm not really looking at the dividends from the project. I'm not looking at earning any more money. It's just like this is just this sort of like my it's an investment. It's also like a sort of like an investment in citizenship, but you're not really looking at it as an investment per se that earns money. It's just a project that's there. Is that right? That's how you look at the commercial property.
Well, yes, but I'm at the same time, although it's a more hands-off approach, it doesn't mean that it's not earning money for you. Yes, it is still earning money for you because there are returns that are packed to the commercial projects as well. But because of the fact that it's not your own house where you don't have to maintain things. You don't need to find a tenant. You don't need to worry about wear and tear and things like that. So that is why it becomes a little bit more hands-off for clients, where the main purpose of this is to invest, get their returns, get the money back at the end of the day because they have a buyback guarantee, and then they get the passport as well. So that's why it's a little bit more easier for the
I got that.
commercial space. Yeah.
Just to clarify again, to Arya, please flash again the info@enterph.com. That's the actual right. Forgive my mistake, but it's info@enterph.com is the correct email address for people who are interested. Info@enterph.com.
Mhm.
Over here, Luisa. Now, how about for the home? Are you buying a condominium unit? Are you buying an individual, single, detached home? And can people actually? How about the maintenance of that home? Who's going to,
Mm,
or
yeah.
do you have some maintenance person or a company manage the homes while you're gone? What happens
Yeah.
here? How does that
So
work?
yeah, I mean, absolutely. If a residential property is something that the client is looking at, we have different types of residential properties. We have apartments, two-bedroom studios. We have villas as well, service residences. So we have a different type, different options. Of course, in terms of performance-wise, they do pay different types of returns annually, projected-wise as well. And also location really depends on what is the location the clients prefer. It really depends on what they need actually, but ultimately at the end of the day, if they're looking for something that's residential, they want to have the possibility of staying there, and they want to tenant it out as well and gain some rental. We have a rent management company in place for every project, so every residential project that we offer comes with a management company in place if they need them to manage it for them.
Thanks for answering that for us. Attorney Rocky, maybe you've got some concerns as well. What have your clients been asking also about this citizenship by investment program?
Um, so going into the actual investment, no, I think one of the things that we wanted to also do in terms of full transparency is to really tell people that the investment, especially when it comes to shares in commercial properties, as opposed to having your own home, no, your point is really the end goal is for you to get the capital. So unlike in other programs, I think the returns may not be as large as some of the other programs. But that said, you're not. It's not like you're losing money. And I think
Mm,
we've been very clear about that, right?
that's right. That's right.
Um, because like a lot of there have been through the feedback I get from clients is that there have been companies that would, it sounds too good to be true. Like you're getting your passport or you're getting your visa, and then you're investing into this amazing property. You're gonna get awesome returns, and they always get disappointed at one stage or every stage of the process,
Mhm.
right? So I think again, like what sets us apart is that we try to give our clients like zero surprises. Like they
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what they're getting into, and they make an informed choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely, Rocky. So I totally agree with you because one of the things that I always like to highlight to clients is that we are a residency citizenship by investment company. We are not an investment company, right?
mhm,
So our focus is the residency and citizenship. So naturally, to be honest, the kind of investment returns that we're talking about in this industry are not the best. There are better out there for sure, but then they're not something that's going to make you lose all your investments as well. It's not something that's a high risk instrument, or it's a conservative instrument basically because the main focus here is to get the residency or citizenship. So that is something that we will always convey to clients to manage their expectations as well. So it's important for clients to know this. What is your main goal? Is it to earn money out of the investment, or is it to get this golden visa or citizenship? That should be understood from day one.
I guess that's a very important point to make because when we use the word investment, it has many different connotations.
Yeah.
So this is not a financial investment, but it's, I mean, don't think of it as a financial investment, but rather it's something to secure citizenship.
Absolutely. And at the same time, of course, no government wants investors to lose money as well. So the different projects have different structures in place, different buyback guarantees, guaranteed returns in place. May not be excellent returns, but they're guaranteed. So things like that are in place to safeguard your investment and to make it as conservative as possible.
Got that. Now, for data privacy purposes, we really can't reveal uh, the Philippine clients that you've had. And I know that you've processed several already. But can you just share with us their experience? What have been the common denominators of the reason they've been wanting to get citizenship? And as they went through the process of getting that citizenship, um, what did they have to look out for? Or what did they have to do? What were their objectives in getting the citizenship also, in
Well,
your
for
experience?
for clients in the Philippines who have applied with me for Portugal, the very common interest for them is the fact that it's an EU country and it's the easiest way, it's the easiest gateway into the EU. That's very important because they all have families. They are all busy business entrepreneurs with families as well. So
Okay.
not just are they looking for the most easiest way to get access into the EU, they're also looking out for their children's future as well. So if you have children, and you're talking about their university education in future, as a EU citizen, they're entitled to study in any EU countries in the universities there, not just in Portugal. And that also at a local as a local, your financial commitment to the university is significantly reduced. So that is one of the major reasons that people are applying for the Portugal program for their kids. Also for to expand their businesses in the EU. That's another reason. As a EU citizen, you can readily expand your business from Philippines into any of the EU countries as well, and there's a lot of benefits in that area too. So that's another reason that my clients apply for the Portugal program.
I see. Again, I'm not sure if we covered this, but then what's the minimum investment that they have to make, and what's probably the maximum investment they have to make in the Portugal Citizenship by Investment program?
Mhm. The minimum investment is 280,000 euros.
And in what areas if you can describe more or less the range so we know, like, at 280,000, is that a commercial or is that a residential property?
It doesn't matter. We have both commercial and residential at the minimum of 280,000. It could go up to 300, 350, even 500. Most of the time, if it's below 500,000, it will be a brand new project. If clients prefer something that's ready, already built, operational, then of course the price point starts at 500,000 and above.
Mhm.
There is no maximum in this case, but of course it has to be approved again by the government. And the fact that it already projects have already undergone capital appreciation, that's why they start at 500 and above. Otherwise, it's below 500.
And when the client has to invest, is it a one-time investment or for that 500,000, or is it an installment?
Yeah, it is a one time. So what they're looking for is that when the bank account is opened, you will have to transfer the entire funds of the project into your local bank account in Portugal. It cannot. It could come in by installments, but we only are able to do the purchase once the entire amount is in there.
Okay. And how about in terms of, I understand that that's the fee that you pay to Portugal, but of course there is the processing and the convenience fee that is
Yes.
also for Arton. What
Yeah.
are those fees like? So for transparency and for better understanding.
So in this entire application process, apart from the investment of the property, there are two types of fees. The first type is the government related fees. So that's the government fees, processing fees, and things like that. The second type of fees would be the Arton fees, which includes legal fees too. So our fees are in the range of 15,000 to 20,000 euros, and this is for the whole family. So it really depends on the family size as well. But yeah, it's in the range of 15 to 20,000 euros.
Got that. You talked about family, by the way. So I think that's one of the other points we need to just explain to people. When you apply for a Portugal Golden Visa, who exactly is applying, or who should apply, and how many
Mhm.
people can ride onto that citizenship by investment visa that you're securing? So can it be, if
Yeah,
it's me, can my parents be included, and can my children be included?
absolutely. So
And my
that's
wife,
a
of
very
course, my wife. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question, and that is one of the beauty about the Portugal program, right? So the Portugal program is very focused on family reunification. So when you talk about a family, this is one of the few programs that actually allow your in-laws to also apply. So basically, the main applicant can include their spouse, can include their dependent children. They can also include their dependent parents, and they can also include their spouse's parents, which
Wow.
who are their in-laws. So it's a very big circle that you can include in. Unfortunately, siblings are not part of this structure. So it ends with parents and parents-in-law. And our fees are for the whole family, regardless of how many people you. There's no limit to how many people can apply. So if you have 10 children, as long as 10 children are dependent on you, they all can apply in the same application.
Okay. I'll get working on the seven more children on my in my case. So
Let me know once you're ready with your soccer team.
yeah. So just in case, let me just so I make sure that I've sharp it correctly. That's me and my wife Vanessa, my mom, and then my parents-in-law, and then my three children. You can all apply for that golden visa. That's one
Absolutely.
application.
Correct. That's correct.
And then does just one person at that time, does one person get it first and then the rest follow? How does that work?
Yeah, so
The
they
main
will they
applicant gets it first?
so in terms of in principle initial approval, everybody will get the approval first. So they will have to travel to Portugal to do the biometrics, and then the final approval will come in stages. So usually the main applicant gets it first, and then the dependents will follow suit from there.
Fantastic. Really great, very insightful session here right now with you with regard to securing the Portuguese citizenship by investment. Rocky, any more questions to ask Luisa as well that you often come across with our local clients?
Mm, hang on. Could
As
you come
as
back to
Rocky
me?
answers this question, let me just again remind people again, if you're interested to secure a Portuguese citizenship by investment, which starts off with a golden visa, please again visit again artoncapital.com. Again, the website is artoncapital.com. And if you'd like to secure a meeting with them, and the meeting is absolutely free to consult, you can contact us at info@enterph.com. Again, that's info@enterph. If you have any questions with regard to the program. Now, as Rocky starts to finalize the questions, any other thing that you want to inform your potential or prospective Filipino clients? What should they prepare for if they plan to apply for the citizenship, at least paperwork-wise, finance-wise? What should they get themselves ready for?
As as a first step, of course, we have to have the initial meeting. That's the first step, right? To understand more about what they're looking for and everything. Paperwork will be something that's not restrictive. We do have a standard list of paperwork, but it's something that it's not restrictive. So really depends on case by case basis. We might need further documentation to support the application, to make it stand out and things like that. So we will definitely advise when the time comes for this client. But as an initial stage, for the if they would like to go through an initial KYC just to check their eligibility before they apply, then I would say to reach out to you guys in EnterPH. I will send you the KYC document that they can fill up as well. That would be great for us to assess and do the KYC for them. And then just prepare their passports and biodata. That will be very helpful.
Thanks so much, Louisa. Rocky, anything to add? Any other questions you want to make sure that we cover over here?
I think it's also it's not really so much of a question for Louisa,
Mhm.
but more of a comment for people who are looking into it or have even come across the concept through a conversation at dinner or with friends or somebody that's actually done it. You don't know what's out there unless you ask. And we, especially Louisa, we're very, very open, to have conversations with you and to have, all of your questions answered, maybe not right away or all at once, but it's really, uh, we actually recently had a client who he just wanted to get a passport and was set on a particular program, and eventually we through the conversations we found that this other program might actually be more appropriate. So it's being open to conversations like that, right? So, it doesn't have to be a part of a grand plan of, succession planning, wealth management, or, I just want to be able to travel without having to line up and get a visa for a country. I
Mhm.
mean, your goals can be as varied as, the next person. So, uh, if you let us, we'll definitely have conversations with you and try to figure out what's best for you and your family when it comes to getting a citizenship by investment.
And thanks so much for that, Attorney Rocky Chan of EnterPH. Again, Louisa, thank you so much for your time. We are looking forward to having you back to explain the other programs that you have under the Arton Capital banner. But at this point, thanks so much. So again, for more information on Portugal, the Portuguese citizenship by investment and Arton Capital, again, one more last time, you can visit their website, artoncapital.com. And if you'd like to have a free consultation with them to get the ball rolling or to get the conversation going, again, you can reach out to info@enterph.com. Thanks so much, Louisa, the head of business development out of Arton Capital in Singapore, and of course, Rocky Chan, president of EnterPH, the official representative of Arton Capital here in the Philippines. Again, my name is RJ Ledesma. We will see you guys in the next podcast. Thanks so much, Louisa, for your time. Thanks, Rocky.
Okay, thanks,
Bye,
Rocky.
guys.
Bye.
Bye, Louisa.